Hello and welcome. I'm Carol DeChaine. I am an intuitive, transformational life and business coach and multidimensional energy light worker. Thank you for joining me here today. I am talking this month about money, about prosperity, depending on your mindset, which one makes you a little more comfortable or a little more uncomfortable. Today, I'm going to be talking about rebooting your money mindset so that you know you deserve more. Sometimes we just go along, well, most of the time for most of us, we're kind of unconscious about the way we react. We just go about reacting to things. If we always had trouble with money, we seem to always have trouble with money. We don't know why that is. We might be working extra hard. You might work 2 or 3 jobs and still have trouble with paying your bills. You might also be someone who has a lot of money, but it seems like no matter what you do, you always overspend and therefore you don't have so much money that you think you do. Or maybe you have money and you invest it unwisely. Whatever it may be, whether you have zero money because you just, no matter what happens, you either lose job after job, or you spend too much, whether it just because you have a lot and you spend too much, or it's something about saving money that you just can't seem to get into your DNA. Sometimes we just need to be aware of where you are. So, the first step in this prosperity month and this money month is be aware of where you are. Look at your current reality. Are you happy with it when it comes to finances, money, prosperity? We always in the spiritual world talk about prosperity. But of course, oh, no, no, no. We can't really talk about money per se. It's got to be prosperity, which is about every part of your life. Well, that's great. But we kind of avoid those words that get to us, the ones that make us go, ee. And those are the ones we need to adjust because those are the ones that will make us have the biggest change in our life. So if you're talking money and you're looking at your life, what does your reality look like currently? Don't worry about how you got there. Don't worry about anything. Just how do you feel? That's the first step. Do you like where you're at? And that's great. So maybe you don't need this, and maybe you're listening for someone else to get an idea of what to say to a friend, or maybe a spouse who's not helping you any when it comes to saving money. Perhaps you're a saver and they're a spender and it's not working that well. This is something that will help both of you, I think. Because if you look at your reality, you can sit the other person down if you're the one you think you're doing pretty well and say, are we happy with the reality of where our finances are? Let's look at this. What can we do? And you say, okay, so here we are, we're in debt, or we want this vacation and we never seem to be able to afford it because something always comes up, and that savings that we put aside always goes towards the emergency or towards that rainy day thing that happens instead of towards the vacation. Or maybe it's a down payment for a house and you never got one because even though you wanted one really badly, you simply always use that money for something else. Or maybe you just never can get enough money. When you look at your reality, how happy or unhappy are you? And then take those few moments to look at why you think you're where you're at. Write yourself a list. I know every time I come up with a tool, it usually has to do with writing a list out. But honestly, sometimes you have to see things written down to know what you're really believing or how you want to move forward. And to remember, yes, at least for me, that's me, to remember the plan you put together, you need to write it down somewhere, put it on so you can see it. If you're a visual reminder kind of person, you need to see it. And typing it or writing it down is also something that will help you remember it, even if you don't you don't see it ever again, because you'll have that memory, that visual memory as well as the handwritten or the typed memory. So the whole point of this is you want to make a list of why you think that you're in this position now. So if you think it's because my father always thought I had to work hard for my money, and my parents never had anything, I don't know how to deal with money. Life is really tough, and no matter what I do, I can't get ahead. So what are your values? What are those beliefs you have of Why are you in this position? Honestly, when you look at those things, they're going to look like facts to you. Maybe. When you get them all written out and you say, okay, if you're working with your spouse, especially, make sure you get both of your input, not just one person. Why do you think we're in this position? And if the person says because it's your fault you spent too much, then write that down. That's their belief. Maybe it's their truth, obviously. Your truth may be that we need all these things and we have the money, so I just had to go get it. Or maybe you want those toys like a boat or a whatever that you feel that you need to survive to make your life valued or have value. And if that's the case, then my life has more value if we spend the money on things I want. Perhaps that's what it is. So if you look at all these things and you go, why is this happening? That's the time that you can kind of reboot your money mindset. I mean, the money mindset is there, but if you have a computer and you're putting in old programming, you're not going to get the most current information. You need to update, right? Reboot, and then move forward with the new information. Sometimes you don't need to reboot, but if it's a really deep program, it's something that's embedded in your computer or your life, you need to kind of reboot it, right? You need to update it and go, where am I at? But we don't always do that with our life. We stick with our old programming and we don't move forward. So if you're stuck, realize that you don't have to be. That it's just a mindset, it's a habit, it's a way of thinking, a limiting belief. It is all those things that you have the power to change. If you're part of a couple, it can be a little more difficult and you might need counseling, life coaching. You might need something where you go, wait, let's look at all of this together. Look at both sets of everything, but you both have to be willing to work on it if you're a couple and you're both unhappy because money will rip you apart. So know that if you both can shift your money mindset into a better place, a higher place, then both of you together will be able to get through this small issue, which feels like it's a monster. This mountain out there that you can't get around will become what we used to call a molehill. It's just a little tiny thing that you go, oh, all those beliefs, all those facts that we think are true aren't really true. The reality that appears to be impossible to get around, if you start shifting your mindset, those obstacles will look less and less and less. But realize that in order to do that, you need to really, really look at why you have that mindset. Why is your reality where you are right now? And then be willing to shift them. If you look at them written down instead of going, and those are facts, to someone else, how come they don't have those problems? Those don't happen to them. Those aren't their facts. They're your reality facts of how you got from here to there. Look at that other person. How did they get? What's their belief structure? How come suddenly they're okay? Or they've always been okay and you're not? Know that you can update all of those mindsets that you have. You can shift them, you can adjust them, and those facts that you wrote down will not truly be facts anymore. They're just your current reality that can shift. You can take that pencil out and erase it. You can update it on your computer, however you want to think about it. You can say, okay, new mindset. But don't just get rid of the old mindset because then you have this void and the universe doesn't like a void. So if you have a void, some other belief will run back in again and your reality will shift perhaps, but it may not be in the direction you want. So make sure as you're looking at the whys of why a reality looks the way it does, that then you go, what do I want instead of this? And as you shift away from one thing, you can have something ready right away to move in. So maybe your belief is that you have to work hard all the time, and if you slack off, no money will come in. Perhaps you go, instead of that belief, that's actually my dad's belief in my case. I don't need to work hard. I need to work smart. I like that belief better. Okay, let's see how I can adjust this. So I'm going to look at this one and say, I don't need that one anymore. It's my dad's belief and not mine. I don't need to adopt it, or however you want to look at it and go, but I'm ready with working smart instead. Okay, so maybe every time you approach something that's difficult and you think, I've got to work 8 hours on this, you go, well, how can I work smarter? Let's change that worry and that thought. Let's work smarter. Maybe it'll only take me a couple hours. Maybe you start with something around the house instead of something at the office. Maybe you find faster ways to do things. Perhaps you ask a coworker if it's work. Or you stop and you look at, maybe you want to clean out a drawer and you go, what's the fastest way? Instead of going through piece by piece and deciding one thing at a time, maybe you take the drawer and you turn it upside down. You go, okay, separate it out, look at it, get rid of, put back in, and it's so much faster. There are so many different ways that you can look at the money mindset. But the whole part of rebooting yourself, and why I call it that, is because you have to see why you're where you are now. You have to look at your reality and see what it looks like to you. What are your finances doing for you? What's the good? What's the bad? What does it look like? And then look at why you're there. Don't hide away from that fact. Just be willing to look at it and go, okay, neutral, no blame, no worry. Why am I here? And then look at that with the mindset of if I could take one step away from that and look at what some other people, how they've made things work for them, that doesn't need to be my facts anymore. It doesn't have to be my reality. So if you know where you want to be and you don't go after it with fear or worry, you can just, if you reboot and you go, okay, shift above, look at what's there, try and be more neutral when you're looking at it. Because honestly, you won't see that you deserve something unless you take that step back. Because you can do what I did, and this is a little convoluted, so stick with me. Let's see how easy I can make it. I used to think that I didn't deserve something. Something, I won't tell you what it is. It just doesn't matter. I thought I didn't deserve it. And I thought, okay, if I think I don't deserve it, do I think my best friend deserves it? And I go, yeah, of course. Do I think my sister does? Well, yeah. My parents? Yeah. All these people I love. And I thought, well, do I love myself? Well, yeah. Do I think I deserve it then? And then I go, well, and I'd be on my way to shifting my mindset because then I got to the point after I got to I thought, but if I think everybody in the world, for example, deserves love or deserves to have money enough to at least be comfortable, if I think everyone deserves that, what makes me so different and so special that I don't deserve it? Why am I so different from everybody else? Oh, and I went, wait a minute. I'm not so special and so anointed that I don't deserve it when I think everyone else does. So, oh, I guess I need to deserve this. Kind of a two-step process. So just look around, and if it's something you feel you don't deserve to have the finances or the money. Maybe you don't think you're working hard enough. And I keep going back to that just because it was one of mine. So you think you didn't deserve it? Then you have to look and say, okay, if I didn't deserve it, look at everybody else you love. They do deserve to have the money. You want your kids to have all the money they need. Oh, well, if they deserve it, and then maybe you think, well, everybody kind of deserves that. Are you part of the everybody? Or are you separate and apart and different from the whole rest of the world? It's just something to go, over. Because maybe that's all you need to have your epiphany to shift away from the I'm not deserving and to reboot your money mindset for whatever it is and whatever reality you're currently facing. So look for your whys. Why am I here? After you look at your reality. And that should help you shift even just a little bit to make you aware of why you think your reality is what it is. All the excuses that we have for why we're not having our perfect life, perfect in quotes, of course, all those excuses, that's what I used to have. Lots and lots of excuses. And now I go, okay, I'll take control. I'll decide I have the power to do it and shift. Now, how do I do that? And that can be the answer, but getting to that point is huge. Allowing yourself then to go find the answers is another step. Reboot yourself. But be aware first. Know that the old programming isn't working for you if you don't like your reality. And then look for updates. Look for new ways of doing things. And maybe that's why you're here. And I hope I've helped you today. My name is Carol DeChaine. Thank you so much for joining me. And please, by all means, subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell notification. If you'd like to connect, by all means, you can find me in different places. I'm now on Instagram, which I wasn't before, under Connect to Joy. That's Connect, the number 2, Joy. You can also find that as my website, connecttojoy.com. There you'll find information on the life coaching, on my energy work. And you can also contact me if you're interested in any intuitive work to help you get through any difficult times that aren't making sense. And maybe you've tried other things and you're going, I don't know the direction, or why am I stuck? That can really help you get unstuck and see things from a slightly different perspective. And of course, my podcast called Living Your Limitless Life, which you can find on almost any platform right now. Until next time, just do remember that you are already enough to have the joyful, limitless life that you desire, whatever that may look like to you.